Hi everyone, welcome back to DD Academy. My name is Matt Fall. I'm the marketing technologist here at Direct Development. Today we're going to learn about HubSpot's Chatbot tool and about all the great features this tool has to offer. We'll cover the different types of chatbots available, the different types of building blocks you can use to build your chatbot, and also some best practices that you should utilize when building out your chatbot. Let's dive in. Throughout this video, you might hear the two words Chatflows and Chatbots used interchangeably. For the purposes of this video, these terms mean the same thing. To access HubSpot's Chatflows tool, we'll navigate to the Conversations tab and select Chatflows from the drop-down menu. Depending on the products and services available to you based on your HubSpot subscription or package, you'll have the ability to choose from a number of different Chatflows. First, click the orange Create Chatflow button in the upper right-hand corner. Notice that you'll have two options to create a Chatflow for your website and a Chatflow for Facebook Messenger. You must connect your Facebook account to HubSpot first in order to use the Chatflow tool in Facebook Messenger. Today I'm going to highlight just a few of the most common types of Chatflows used. So to start, click Website. Live chat allows you to welcome website visitors and send them to your live team who are ready to interface and interact with visitors at a moment's notice. The Meetings bot allows visitors to more easily book meetings with your sales team for things like demos or consultations. The Meetings bot utilizes your HubSpot Meetings link. Qualify Lead bot allows you to ask a set of qualifying questions to visitors to ensure that they are sales ready before handing them off to your sales team. Now, if you have a service hub and/or a knowledge base set up, you can create a bot that searches your knowledge base to provide visitors with answers to their questions and the ability to hand off the conversation to a live teammate if the knowledge base doesn't answer the question. Note that this type of chatbot requires a Service Hub subscription with HubSpot. If you want to start your Chatflow from scratch, you can do so. Today we're going to get started by building a brand new Chatflow from scratch. On the next screen, provide a little more information about your Chatflow. Select an inbox. The selected inbox will push any chats that originate from the chatbot into that inbox, and also select a language. Then, click Create. Pro tip, before creating your Chatflow, write an outline of the steps in a Google Doc. Revise and edit that outline with your teammates before building out that Chatflow in HubSpot. Ensure that you have a solid Chatflow outline by running through all of the actions, steps, and messages that a user could possibly take. Here, you can flesh out language, tone, and transitions. Editing a complex chatbot can be a tedious task, but an outline to reference at all times can be helpful. I suggest using a tool like Lucidchart to outline the chatbot before getting started. Diving back into the HubSpot Chatflows tool, you can build your Chatflow with any number and combination of building blocks. Click the plus sign below a Chatflow step to add building blocks. I'm going to highlight just a few of the most important building blocks commonly used in Chatflows. The Send Simple Message block sends the visitor a message without asking for a response. This could be used to give further instructions or context about what the Chatflow is instructing the user to do, or used in an introductory or goodbye message. Most building blocks will require you to add an action name to keep track of the block or step, especially if it is used multiple times within the Chatflow. Being descriptive with the action name can help you find and locate steps that need editing in the future. The Ask Question block poses a question to the visitor and solicits a response before moving on to the next step in the Chatflow. You can choose from a number of frequently used questions or create a custom question. Note that you can save user responses to questions in HubSpot Properties. Click Save to HubSpot property and select a property. Doing so will save the user's response to your Chatflow posed question directly to that HubSpot property. For some HubSpot properties like drop-down selects, radio selects, and multiple checkboxes, a number of quick replies will pre-populate based on the options available within the selected property. This ensures that a user's response to your question automatically syncs to the appropriate contact property. You can also manually add a number of quick replies as preset responses provided to the user. Typically, posing open-ended questions is not a best practice, so try to set a number of quick replies that make sense given the posed question. Open-ended questions like first name, last name, and email are okay. Lastly, you can skip over a question posed in the chat flow if the user you're asking the question to has an answer with an associated contact property in HubSpot. For example, if a user interacts with your chat flow and you already know the user's email address, you can click Skip this action if property already exists to skip over a question asking the user for his or her email address again, since it's already known by the HubSpot CRM. If-then branching allows you to send a user down a specific chat flow path depending on an answer they provided in an earlier step of the chat flow. Similar to if-then branching in a HubSpot workflow, you can select a number of criteria that the contact should meet before continuing down a certain path of the chat flow. Another popular building block is the Book a Meetings building block. Here, you can choose a HubSpot Meetings link, which automatically pulls in or syncs the availability of a teammate based on their HubSpot Meetings tool. If you're unfamiliar with HubSpot's Meetings link tool, please watch our video tutorial or read the HubSpot resource left in the show notes. By using the Book a Meeting building block, users can book meetings with you directly in the chat flow by selecting from pre-populated time and date availability. When the chat flow reaches a point in which it can no longer answer a user's more complex questions, or the user has signaled that they want to talk to a live human, you can use the Send to a Team Member building block to route the chat flow to a team member that can take over the chat flow conversation. If no team members are available to take the chat flow conversation, you can set a message to be shown to the user that a team member will reach back out to them as soon as possible. There are other chat flow building blocks that allow you to do things behind the scenes, steps that the user won't see or experience as they're interacting with the chatbot. Updating contact properties, adding users to lists, or placing users in workflows after a desired step has been taken are all common behind the scenes building blocks. For example, if someone reaches a certain step within the chat flow, perhaps they book a meeting with you or they reach the end of the chat flow, you can set a contact property behind the scenes to keep track of those steps. Likewise, you can also add them to static lists or enroll users into workflows after desired actions are taken in the chat flow. Once you've added all the appropriate chat flow building blocks, you can preview how the chat flow will appear from the user's perspective. Click the Preview button in the upper right-hand corner to open the chat flow and test any number of the chat flow paths that you've created. I highly suggest having your teammates thoroughly test the chat flow to ensure that building block transitions are smooth and are logical from the user's perspective. One last bit of advice: practice the no dead ends rule. If a user comes to the end of a chat flow, suggest other options for the user to take instead of just ending the chat flow altogether. In this example, the user has the ability to further engage with the chat flow if desired, or end the chat flow on their own terms. Next, you'll want to tell HubSpot where the chat flow should be placed on your website. Click Target on the left-hand side of the page. By default, your chat flow will appear on all of your web pages and be visible to all website visitors. Adding a URL or query parameter under the website URL section will ensure that the chat flow only appears on pages that meet the criteria you've entered. Note that if you have non-HubSpot pages with the HubSpot tracking code placed on the page, you can still add your chatbot to those non-HubSpot pages. You can also filter who sees the chat flow by a number of other user filters, including list memberships, call to action clicks, form submissions, device types, and pages viewed. This criteria further filters out which users can see the chat flow throughout your website. Heading over to the display options will allow you to change the look and feel of your chat flow and how it appears on the page. Here, you can give some personality to your chatbot by adding a photo to be displayed at the top of the chat flow, and also by giving your chat flow a creative name. Set your chat flow display options to trigger the opening of the chat flow and make it appear to the user after the user has been on the page for several seconds, has scrolled down a certain percentage of the page, or displays behaviors that shows intent of exiting the page. Lastly, in the Options section, you can set an error message and set the chat flow to reset after a certain period of inactivity with a user. If you only want the chatbot to display when your team is ready and available to handle any conversations or live chats that are produced by the chatbot, you can do so under the Availability settings. You can also enable data privacy and consent options on this page. Okay, so you've tested the chat flow several times, you like how it looks and feels and appears from the user's perspective. You're ready to turn on your chat flow. Navigate to the upper right-hand corner to toggle on your chat flow. Your chatbot will now appear on all the pages that you've set, and users will begin interacting with your chatbot. It may be a good idea to monitor the data and contact properties that are being set by the Chatflow in order to make sure that that data is clean, usable, and accurate. If you need to edit any step or building block of the chatbot, do be conscious about where the building block is used within the Chatflow. Building blocks used in multiple locations throughout the Chatflow will also update if you choose to update just that one instance of a building block within a particular Chatflow path. Think about updating a building block as a global change to that building block throughout the entire Chatflow. And that will do it for the HubSpot Chatbot tool. Please feel free to leave questions in the comments section below and check out the description for additional resources. We hope to see you next time.